that I've been traveling, but it's more to Joburg, Pretoria side. But then obviously in Bloom as well. But yeah, it's picking up now.
Yeah.
Going into next year, I believe I'll travel a lot more.
Mm. I want to tell you something. I don't know if I should say crazy, but yesterday, I don't know if you are aware that there are graduations taking place.
Yeah, I saw there was a few.
Yeah. So I guess by now you know that I have a barber shop, right?
Yeah.
So I had this client. She was, she wanted to cut her hair short, keep it natural, going to the graduation event. So I was telling her, she's actually the one who invited me to the event that you guys created. So yesterday, when I was with her, I was thanking her. I was like, thank you for actually inviting me in that seminar because I actually benefited from that. And I told her that I'm actually planning to get you on the podcast. And she was like, that's a brilliant idea. You should actually have him on. I'm like, yeah, why you say that? He's like, I don't know if you do something in church and all that, but people appear to know you most.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think one is the red hair.
Yeah.
It's difficult to get.
Yeah.
But my wife sings in the church. She's one of the lead singers for the church's band. So I think when they see her and me,
Oh yeah.
then they like put the connotation together. And I think I genuinely think the red hair,
Yeah. It's distinctive.
yeah, you started to miss it.
Yeah. And my editor, the person who edited this book, I don't know if you've seen my book before, but
I've seen your book. I haven't read it yet.
No, it's okay. The person who edited my book, she also attended your church. The other time, she's like, I posted you, and she was like, oh yeah. I think she said something about when are you having him on the show or yes, but she just like reacted to that. Yeah, and yeah, it said a lot about you. Said a lot about you. I'm like, clearly I'm not having an average man here. Yeah, Mike, let me welcome you on Asbaye. Yeah, thank you so much for coming. My intention or purpose with this platform is to actually make progress accessible to all people. Because I'm under the impression that all individuals can be progressive if they, take the information that progressive people consume. So I'm trying to cascade it from those who are progressive to those ones who are feeling stuck.
Yeah.
That's my intention. So if a boy somewhere in the world or a lady somewhere in the world watch this and they get their aha moment that, oh, actually, I didn't know that, Yeah, so that's why I'm having this. So thanks for honoring my invitation.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, yeah. Today I'm sitting with Michael Maria. So please don't forget to subscribe. Bro, if I have to ask this difficult question to many people, who is Michael? Like Maria? What makes you today?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that not only maybe a lot of things that make up people.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it, or you did mention it earlier. The church.
Yeah.
The church formed a lot about who I am and God, the Word of God, my relationship with God. I met my wife in the church.
Nice.
And yeah, it's there's a lot of factors. I think if I have to describe myself, I'm very energetic, outgoing person, a very big extrovert. So yeah, you'll probably learn a lot more about me throughout the podcast.
Yeah. Do you play some sports?
I do. In school and in varsity, I played rugby. I'm a very big rugby fan.
Yeah.
And my wife and I play five-a-side hockey now. And yeah, outside of that, I always say I want to play more rugby, but with time, and I'm still very young, but everyone says their body gets a bit weaker when you get older. But yeah, so sports now is just the hockey and then training and yeah. Keep it simple.
I want you to take me back. For us to understand this person that you're sitting with today, please take me back to some of the incidents that shaped your perspectives or how you actually perceive things today. Like, what are some of the occurrences that you had in the past as you're growing up? What type of family are you growing up in? Type of challenges that are you facing? Yeah, good times that made this person that we sing today.
Yeah. Well, I grew up here in Bloemfontein. I've lived here my whole life. I went to St. Andrew's School here in Bloem. Was there from grade double nought up until matric. Had a really fun school career. Uh, Honestly, didn't do much studying. But yeah, so went to school here. My upbringing, I think in the beginning, sometimes we're not aware really of what we actually have and what we're exposed to until a later stage when you do some reflecting or you realize what you had. I during school, like I said, it wasn't something that I thought about, and then later on, um, I only realized I'm going to use the word like privilege that I had going to a school like St. Andrews and having the parents that I have. I also have an older brother who's 4 years older than me. So having the family that I had, my parents, my dad, he came from quite a impoverished background, and he always told us like growing up, he saw like other people did things that he couldn't do, or that they bought things that he couldn't afford. And he said like in his life he will make sure his kids will never have to go through that. So my dad is still a very hard worker, and he made sure like when we go to school that we lack nothing. When we have sport, there's nothing that we can't get. And in the moment, you're not really aware of things like that. But then later on, when I went to varsity, and when you start like building up a lot more independence, then you actually start realizing these things. And it's something that I still till today will never take, um, or how do I say it? It will never be something that I don't think about. Um, in terms of like the sacrifice that my parents had to make, and a lot of decisions that they made behind the scenes that I didn't know of. And then, yeah, then when I was done with school, went to varsity. I actually wanted to study BCom LLB here at Koffsies.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have enough AP points. So I didn't have enough, or my marks weren't high enough that my AP points were high enough to get in. And then when it came to registration, the lady who was helping me, she's like, I think you should do uh, BCom business management, and you should have entrepreneurial management as an additional subject, or that you can like specialize in. And I was like, well, I'll do that then. I said, let's go for it. Then I registered for that, and then the varsity career started. I did my undergrad, then I did my honors in that, and then I had 1 year off, and then I did my CFP, my postgraduate diploma in certified financial planning. And I think in varsity was where the switch came for me in terms of how I see finances, and how I do certain things, and how I mustn't do certain things as well. Um, yeah, so at varsity, I can definitely say like there was a big shifting point in my life. I think it was more also the exposure that I got from varsity and the studies and things like that. It did play a role, but I don't think it played the biggest role. I think because of the other environments I was finding myself in, which I think is vitally important to anyone, is that the environment you find yourself in, you always need to be aware of it. Um, so I was picking up the environments I found myself in was people who were doing business, who were in finances. So the conversations were different. And then it started sparking a lot more in me. And again, with the theory that you get in school and that you get in varsity is very good, but then starting to see what the practicality of that can be in the real world.
Because you see it from these people around.
Yeah. that I found myself around in, and then you start noticing things differently. Like you start picking up something that you read is actually being applied here. And
Yeah.
you can see the differences in it, and then you can see the things that are common between the theory and the practical. But the practical side is obviously a lot better than the theory side. That's my personal opinion. And then and then I started when I was done with my honors, I started working. And then when you get into the workplace, there's a whole new season that you enter into there. There's a whole shift in mindset, a shift in your thoughts. In that time, I got engaged while studying as well. Got married while I was studying as well.
Wait, was that part of the plan, or it came as a surprise even to yourself?
No, I think it was. My wife and I wanted to get married, and then later on, only after our engagement, I was told through my work that, listen, here's a study opportunity for you. So the studying was a surprise, not getting married. Yeah.
So I have questions on what you just said right now, right? But I want to ask this one before I forget it. Where does the relationship? When does the relationship start? Will you get into varsity with the same girlfriend that is wife today?
No.
Or you met at varsity?
No. So we met, like I said, we met through the church. It was like one evening we had a social, and then my now wife was there, and I still remember asking a friend, like, listen, who is this person?
Yeah.
And then he said, no, her name is Sue-Ann, and she was at school, and she's a year older than me and everything. And then I like never mislooked the power of a Facebook message, and I messaged her on Facebook. And then from there on, we started talking, and like her and I always make a joke out of it. She friend zoned me for 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then, like, we were talking the whole time, and then I think it was beginning of 2021, and then I think she got tired of me just talking to her the whole time as a friend.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Listen, let's have a look and let's see, like, let's start dating. Look, we start this new journey." And then from there, then it was, we dated. I got engaged in April on her birthday in 2023, and then we got married in December.
So you would say like this is like something that happened over 5 years. It was a 5-year process, or even maybe 5-year plus. Because my question, I'm trying to figure out, because I'm not married yet. I'm trying to figure out how to position myself. No, I'm just trying to figure out, like, if she saw all the parts of you when you were maybe entering varsity and you now going to workplace. I was trying to figure out, that.
Yeah. I think she did, but not to the full extent, because I mean, you're friends. Like, your friends don't know everything or see everything that you do and things like that. I think when we started dating, and then I was working. Then the more time you spend with the person, the more they see, like, okay, this is Michael in the work environment, this is Michael in a social environment. And then she got to see me also when I had to study again. So she did get like those parts of me. And I think, again, like, it's a whole different journey that you enter into. Like I said, especially when we got married, then you live with the person, you're always in their space 24/7, or as much time as you can outside of work. Then you start to also discover new things about the person. And I know, for instance, my wife didn't know that I was.
Now, if you are in South Africa and you are making less than 100,000 rand a month, you've got a problem.
I actually have an agenda with this interview.
My wealth story is a love story.
Researching you was the most fascinating thing.
Every man's gaps exist around 3 or 4 things. Number one.
And at this point, you are making 100 to 1 million. Well, I don't have a context for this one. Before you go,
Yeah, I've got students in Saudi Arabia. I've got students in the UK. I've got students in the Netherlands. I've got students in New Zealand. I've got students in Lesotho. I've got students.
I have 4 envelopes here.
Yes, sir.
So
nobody has ever asked me that question, and I'm going to say it for the first time on this podcast. But wealthy people build systems, right? So guys like us have built systems that enabled us to have the flexibility to do whatever that we basically want, and we make money in our sleep. Now, in 2026, number one, make sure that your property is the only asset class, right? That has got a proven track record of hedging against inflation. What goes into the investment? And most people don't know this, and this is something that's quite important.
You're leaving it in the public eye. I can only imagine the pressure, the trolls. But again, the celebration.
Right, I was trending like crazy over a plate of food that I posted. I posted a plate of food. And I made a joke, and over that plate of food, I'm not going to go back to it. And I received death threats because people thought and people said that I belittled the poor.
I feel like you're Mansa Musa. You're going in these communities, dropping the gold. Thank you for passing in this community as well and dropping this gold. I promise you will put into use very effectively.
So. And I'm hoping that I'm not saying anything else on this podcast here, because I see a lot of people, say certain things and something happens to them. Right? I am risk prone. I'm the guy that loves debt. I love debt. I owe the bank millions and I sleep like a baby.
A very, if I can say, straightforward person when it came to certain things. So like when it comes to my studies and work, like I take it very seriously, and because she's always in my space, she only realized it then, because prior to that, we weren't really in each other's company the whole time. So you learn, there's different things that you learn in different time periods, like in the dating, in the engagement, and in marriage. It's a continuous learning time period. But getting married is is the best thing you can do. Getting married to the right person.
To the right person. I know people are gonna be mad at me for cutting this part of conversation short. But I think maybe one day down the years, we will actually come back to this, right? Right now, I want to ask this question. When you were growing up, I take this from myself. Many kids, they would have things that the community or the society doesn't deem perfect about them, that sort of make them exclusive or excluded in maybe in circles or in, communities. For instance, if someone doesn't have a confidence like me, there would be a place where I would actually exclude myself because I feel like I didn't belong. What are some of the challenges or a challenge that you experienced as a child, which maybe you can say, maybe it concerned you?
I don't think as a child there were those type of settings or environments that I can recall now. Even at school, like you're friends with people who are similar to what you like and similar to the things that they do similar things that you do. So I always found myself in people's environments, like at school and when you were a kid and everything, with, they enjoy the things that you do. I think like when it came to varsity, where I said there was that like turning point, then it's not necessarily that I would keep myself away from that. I always think there's always something you can learn in every setting and every environment. It's not always a place for you to teach, but for you to learn. So I think in that case, it was there were certain places where I knew, for instance, like, so let me say this, my life, I grew up in the church. That's one thing I can actually talk about now. I grew up in the church, and like my parents were very adamant on like having discipline and obedience and Christian values and Christian morals, and they were adamant on instilling that in my brother and I. And up until I want to say like grade 10, it was going very well, and then like I half strayed away a bit from the path. Not in essence of like my faith, but I was doing things that were in hindsight not very good, in terms of like drinking a lot, going out and things like that. And I don't judge anyone who does that. Please don't get me like hear what I'm not saying. But then I would do things like that, and then I would also feel like, but if you are this man of faith, why are you doing X, Y, Z? It's not a very good representation, because I felt like you feel a bit like you're being biased, if that's the right word. I can't think now of the right word now, but a hypocrite, that's the word, sorry.
Yeah.
I felt like I was being a hypocrite, like you're this man of God,
Two
man
faces.
of faith,
Yeah.
and then on the other side, like on a Friday and Saturday night, we would do all these things. So then in the middle of matric, like I had like a very radical encounter with God, and like my whole life changed. I want to say again, from that moment. Like then going out isn't even a option for me.
Do you remember a moment that changed it all?
Yeah, it was the 18th of October 2016.
So precise. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the day very clearly. We had also like, it was actually a part of our church. They have like youth events, and it was hosted by our youth pastor. And the event was they had a couple there that came and spoke, and I think it was about godly dating. But I just remember like the encounter that I had with God was like, what's the relationship that I've got with Him? And it was like a very straight up question that I felt like they're talking about relationships with like a spouse or a girlfriend. But I wasn't focused on my relationship with God. And then like from that day, it was a total shift in my life. So that's actually going back to your question. I think at school, then from there, the environments that I started then surrounding myself with were a lot different. I was still friends with my friends. Like I didn't have any judgment or anything like that, but there were certain things that I didn't then do after that moment. So there's those moments, and like I said, in varsity, and even now, I'm very adamant in like when I spend time with people, that I always walk away with something. I think that's the most important thing for me in this season that I find myself now. That if I say like I want to spend time with this person, that I make sure like I leave with a different thought or something that I can ponder on. Because,
Love that.
Yeah, or let me say rather like this. I realize now a lot of the times we think, oh, okay, I'm 27. I've got still so many years lying ahead of me. And that you think the idea of trying to hear people's thoughts and ideas and the way they think is something that comes only later. You only start thinking of those things at a later stage in your life. Like when you wipe your eyes out, you're 40, you're 45 or 50. So for me, that's something that I made very adamant in my life now, that if I sit with people, if I'm in conversation with them, that I make sure I pick their brain, for lack of word. I pick their brain all the time.
Yeah, I want to go back again. Since we're going to talk about money, please tell me, Mike, like what are some of the things that you are raised by both your parents, right? What are habits or maybe money ideas that you are raised with? Were you raised to save? How was your relationship with money cultivated from your childhood? And did it change at some point? I mean, since now you becoming like a financial planner and you do all these things, maybe it might have changed. Like if it changed from what to what, and why did it change? I know it's such a contented question, but you'll tell me if you need me to to remind you on some of
Yeah.
the things?
So I think growing up, firstly, like my brother and I never had any worries about finances because my parents were the ones who were providing the whole time, and they provided very well for us, and I'm very grateful for that. But money principles and things like that weren't really discussed in our house. To be honest with you, it was never a major topic of conversation, and that's not like a negative thing on my parents. But my dad was a very principle focused man. So he for instance he would say like hard work is always rewarded in any area of your life. So if I can apply that now to finances as well, like hard work in whatever finances you manage and personal finances in a company that you own, hard work will always be rewarded. And that's something that like my dad was very, very, very hard on for us. And same like with school, like I know I didn't work hard, but he would say like your marks reflect the time that you put into it. You understand your input and your output. My financial shift in thinking was more like the research that I did, and there were certain things that have pushed me to start thinking differently about money. When I was done studying, then I started working for a company here in Bloemfontein, a property company, and they had student accommodation. They had 4 buildings with about 300 students in them. And then he asked me if I can manage the buildings for him. So I was like, cool, that's 100%. I'm fresh out of varsity. Um, Remind me to come back on an idea of people who just come out of varsity and their thoughts on on work. So I just got out of varsity, started working there, and then again, very young, I had an idea of what I thought I would get paid because of the degrees that I had.
Well done, by the way. Yeah, you've
Thank
come a
you.
long way.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Yeah.
Then I got paid 7,000 rand a month minus 70 rand for UIF, so 6,930 bucks. And I had to make do with that. I had to pay my medical aid. I had to pay my petrol. My parents were covering certain things as well, but there were like certain expenses that they said, well, you're starting to work now, so you're going to start covering certain things. So yeah, I had to pay like I said, petrol, medical aid. Had to save up for engagement ring during that time. Had to start saving for a.
You're such a lover, Mike.
Yeah, had to start.
Yeah.
Also thinking like obviously about a wedding, saving up for that. I had money saved up because when I was like I said in first year, like then I started like having a slight shift. So I started working while studying as well then. But then yeah, then like I said, with the 6,930 bucks, I had to make do with it, and I had to start working well with my money. I couldn't just think my salary is my pocket money now.
Wait, did you save during varsity days for other things?
I just used to save money. I didn't really have a purpose for it, to be honest with
Wait,
you.
where do you take that habit? I know, like you said, your father wouldn't talk about some money principles, even though he might talk about some like a general principle, like work hard and all that. Where did you pick that up?
The savings,
Yeah,
like
the
saving it.
Yeah,
I think it was just something that I did, to be honest. I can't like pinpoint the exact time. I used to, when I was studying, I used to bartend. I used to waiter. I used to help with catering businesses. I used to run like the varsity had swimming pool, like these swim meets where like schools or like the
by
varsity.
Human.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
it.
like the owner of the restaurant I used to wait at, he was like, let's run a tuck shop. So then I used to run the tuck shop for them there as well. So I was earning good money, to be honest with you. during that time. But again, like my money had no purpose at that time. So it was like, I said like, okay, well, I get this much every single week. And then I would think like, well, here's a random figure, just put it away. And then the rest of it was like, you're spending money for the month. And then when I started working, obviously I couldn't do all of those things anymore. And then COVID must happened. I did my honors in during COVID. So then started working at the property company. Made that salary, and then I was like, okay, well, I can't just put an amount that I think looks fine for me and spend the rest of it. So that's when I then started saying like, okay, well, I know of a budget and what a budget can do. And let me see if I can start setting one up for myself. And then when I started doing that, that was like, wow, okay, this is how you allocate money. This is how you see from month 1 to month 3, does this amount work for this specific expense? So like your pocket money, if you pick up like, oh, you're spending more, then it's not just like, okay, increase your pocket money. It's go back and look, what are you spending money on? And then it was like, that was the cultivating moment in my life where finances also started skyrocketing for me.
Bro, I see. I want to say this. It seems like you've been on the emergency fund lane before you even, like, unconsciously. Because you putting money away is just like when you say you put money away, you don't even know what you're going to do with that. And that's exactly what emergency fund is, which you're going to talk about it, right? Just putting money for something that you don't know might happen. But you say, in case something happens. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want us to... Oh, last question before we play a game. I have a game for you, but it's not rugby. I'm sorry. So I have had this philosophy, I think I can call it philosophy, the history of life in families, right? Which to you, it confuses me a little. So in my family, this applies very well. So my grandfather was one of the richest guys in the village, right? So, okay, before I put my family as an example, let me say, what's this philosophy? Good times create people who create bad times. And then bad times create people who create good times. How does this look like? In my family, like my grandfather, I said, he was one of the richest guys in the village, right? Created good times for my father. But my father wasn't really a person that managed my grandfather's wealth to a point where we can also enjoy it. So all we see right now as this generation, we see the blueprint of the wealth of my grandfather together with my grandmother, like the wealth that they've created. So my father takes into management, or he has zoomed these things, but never multiply to a point that we also get to live that life. So remember, good times that were created by my grandfather now my father takes over. He creates bad times, and bad times create people who create good times. And this is me, who's like, I think I have an idea where the family is coming from, right? Now I'm going to work so hard to make sure that my child doesn't grow the way I grew up. No, I'm going to buy assets. I'm going to put my hands on. I love when you say you were working a lot of things, but I'm going to come back to that. My question, do you understand this analogy I'm making, right?
Yeah, I think I've heard it where it says hard times create hard people create soft times create soft.
Exactly. It's the same thing, right? Yeah, it might be like butchering it brutally, but yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But you say your father never had it easy, but he made sure that you guys are actually gonna have it easy, right? So this moment when your father created these moments that can actually make it easy, you can easily like lay back. You can be lenient to situations. But you don't seem like that guy. You seem like a guy that wanna create even more good times for himself. You're working hard. You know, I see this because I say this because I see it even where I come from, that people would be living in the most rich state. And when people that created that rich state pass away or die, they just kick the money and the money's out, you know? But you don't seem like you that guy. You actually want to work even harder for yourself. Why is that?
I'm a very like firm believer in generational wealth. And I say to my wife, for instance, like the money and the finances that we build like has to extend further than us. It has to be able to impact other people. And it was this that's like a decision that I made a while ago, and it's also that's the most important thing. Like a lot of these times, a lot of these things, it's whatever decision you make and you choose to go through with that decision. My my dad, for instance, with working hard and like his decision, the reason why he made the decision to work so hard is purely because he didn't want us to go through what he went through. He was one of 5 kids. So you understand, like the I'm presuming now, but I think it's a very accurate presumption, is the finances were spread thin because there were so many kids, and my grandparents didn't maybe earn enough, and like that then was the spark and the ignite for my dad to be like, well, I know if I work hard, I will climb whatever rank, or I will end up in this position, and that will mean I'll be able to provide for my family. And there's a lot of people who come from wealth who then squander it away, or if the father maybe passes away, that the wealth will just diminish very quickly with them. So I also think like um, our church, like I go to CRC, our church is also has so many outreaches that they do, so many I want to say events where it's feeding schemes. It's to help people on the street. We've got safe houses for little kids that go through like hell, where they get taken and put in safe houses for protection. You understand? So it's also something that I learned from the church. Like it's your finances has to do a lot more for other people as well. It's the same. Like I mean, I also say like Jesus didn't share the word and parables just with the disciples. He shared it with the disciples, and then it went to the whole world. You understand? So that's how I've seen it for a while, and I feel it's a massive honor and privilege to be able to say like I can look after my family, and I can look after but help anyone else in need. I mean, who would not want to be able to do that? There's also like everyone, majority of people know the saying, like it's better to give than to receive.
Yeah.
Like that's quite a very important principle for me.
Okay, let's play a game. Okay. So on this game, you must actually choose which one is for you. You can't choose both. All right. Yeah. And after you choose, you give a reason.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. You want to buy things on debt or on cash?
Cash.
Okay. Why?
Because if I buy it with cash, I own it. If I buy it on debt, I don't own it. So if I want to buy bought my wife a laptop, for instance. I bought it cash. I could have gone to the iStore and said like, listen here, I want a contract for this laptop, so forth, so forth. Like what's going to happen if I miss payments? I'm pretty sure someone's gonna come knocking on my door and be like, "Okay, buddy, you behind." Either they will probably take the laptop back, or there's other consequences. If you get a loan from a credit institution, same thing applies. Like they will repossess whatever the item is. So for me, you've heard me talk a lot about it.
Have you had hard times with debt? Like, have you been in debt before and you're like, what did I put myself into?
I have not been in hard times with debt. I have been in debt.
Yeah.
Again, like this is where I honor my dad and my mom. They made sure, for instance, I could go study. They bought me my first car, that I didn't have to worry about those things. So I understand that aspect of my life where other people do not have that privilege of being able to go to varsity without having any debt. But yeah, for me, going into debt, if it must be the last resort. It can't be the first thing you think of. And that if it is the last resort, you must have a plan to pay it off as quick as possible. Because it blows my mind how some people are very fine with it to pay a majority of their salary to someone or some institution that you don't spend time with the bankers. You don't live in the bank, but you pay them astronomical amounts of money for debt. So that's for me, like I don't enjoy that. The money I work for, I would like to keep as much of it as possible.
I get you. I get you. Would you prefer to buy a house or rent it?
Depends in what season you find yourself in terms of your life. I, for instance, tell people like when they are, if they can, if they are going to get married and things like that, like stay at your parents as long as possible because you can save as much money as possible for the wedding, for the honeymoon. And then my wife and I, for instance, like we got married with the emergency fund. So like I would say the same, like if you can rent as long as possible, like do it, save up money to either put down a massive down payment, or like, if possible, like buy the house cash. It depends. Like, are you willing to have delayed gratification in that sense? Are you willing to wait it out? Like, again, if I think of buying a house now, I'm not in the right mindset to say like I owe the bank more than R1 million. Because like it's a lot of money for a long period of time,
bro,
that I will have to pay them. And again, like this is my personal feeling. Not
so
everyone.
you rather rent than having 1 million debt. I take it.
Yeah, definitely. And remember, when you buy a house, there's a lot of expenses that you have to cover as well, outside of just rent. When you compare it to when you just rent, there's a lot of other things that you're gonna have to pay for that people don't bear in mind. Same thing with a car. Like you think, oh, the monthly premium is the only thing. Like, no, you have insurance, you've got maintenance, you've got petrol. I made that mistake with a car once.
Same here.
Yeah. So, yeah, when you look at the grand scheme of things, you need to be aware of those things. But there's also like a lot of pride and joy that comes with buying a house. I look forward to the day that I can do that, but I will do that with cash.
Okay. This one, I don't know. You're gonna kill me for this one. Which one come first and must be maybe attended first? Your wife or your goals?
My wife. My wife for sure. She is the one who motivates me to reach my goals. My goals, like, without my wife, my goals aren't there.
Really?
Yeah. So like my vision that I have is like that. The work I do is for her. That if she wants to be able to do something, that I can be like, we can do that. And that one day when I have kids, like that I can say like, you're the mother of this household. You can put as much time into raising our kids that you don't have to worry about like work. Well, raising kids is work. Let me just say that as well.
Mm.
Takes a lot of effort, and like I give all the respect to women who do that full time. So if that is something that she wants to do, and I can be the person to provide it, then I'm going to do that.
I read a book titled Poverty Proof. Can you please check the author for me, Kat? Poverty Proof. 50 ideas of making yourself poverty proof. If like you basically abstaining yourself from poverty. One of the ideas, this guy, who's the author, Kruger, Douglas Kruger, wonderful book. I think he's from here in South Africa. One of the ideas that he put amongst those 50, he said sticking with one woman is a financial advice. Is a good financial advice. What's your take on that? Is it something that you've seen? Have you been on, or have you been otherwise with that?
No, like, so my wife was my like first girlfriend.
Oh,
So
wow.
like, yeah, so no, when you marry and you marry right, you can go very far.
And probably you've seen like you've seen people that probably this idea this guy put in his book, that is applicable, or it should be applicable. Have you seen it? How does it work for them? Do you think it's one of the best choices that you've made, sticking with one person,
Yeah.
like financially?
Yeah.
Have you seen other people doing otherwise and probably it works somehow for them?
I haven't seen other people. Are you asking like that they have more than one wife or more than one girlfriend?
Yeah, more than one girlfriend, more than one. Yeah.
No, I haven't been in conversation with someone
Yeah.
who's got more than one girlfriend. I would not advise doing that.
All right.
For me, again, like my wife is my everything, and a lot of what I do for her. And like I said, like you asked me like previously, my wife or goals, like
Yeah.
when I work and I work till late, and I tell my wife, like, thank you for allowing me to do that. For me to work late, I know it's time that I had to offer up for work and not with you.
Mm,
And then her response is like, she's so proud of me.
mm.
You understand? Like, who wouldn't want that?
I love that so
Yeah, you
much.
understand?
I love that so much.
It's
Yeah.
very nice.
One of the things that I actually search for, also in a relationship, is at least someone that if they fail to believe in me that I'm gonna achieve my dreams, at least they cannot do the opposite, like not believe, not like portray disbelief. Do you understand? But having someone who believes in you and who's proud for you to actually gravitate towards, a position that you also want, it's such an amazing thing. Kat, do you have any questions so far? Yeah, please go for it. Load it, my boy. Go for it. Yeah.
Yesterday, I was watching this podcast. I'm not going to mention the podcast.
You can mention it. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was King podcast with McG.
Yeah. Podcast and chill. Yeah. Inspiration of all times. Yeah.
So McG there said on the podcast, like, folding your arms sometimes is not laziness. As a businessman, folding your arms sometimes it's more like you are investing your money for the future. So I hear you saying that 20 years ago, let me just say years ago, you said that you had money, but that money you said it didn't have purpose. So you just decided to like keep that money because it had no purpose. So I want to know, like, money, when you have money, money always works. Like I believe that money, even if like there's a time behind there, even if like you don't have the job for that friend, but someone can do something with that money. So I want to know, like, how did you behave, or how did people around you behave when they knew that you had money and you didn't, maybe I don't know if you shared it with them or what, but probably they knew that you had money and you decided to like save it because of it did not have purpose. Like I want to know, how did that behavior come about? Like how did you behave around money? So like how do you behave? Like you have money, but you feel like I don't have purpose, but money is money. You can do a lot of things with money. Like a lot of people, like they can have 1 million account right now, and then they be like, I don't have plans. But 1 million is there. Let me just go out. Let me just go kill this man. Let me buy a car. Let me do this. Let me do that. So I want to know, like, how do you behave around money? Like you said, money.
I don't know. This question is long, so please put it right here because every time I ask a question, I have to put it on the mic.
Okay, no problem.
So I can start moving it.
Yeah, you can start over
So that they
people
can
understand.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just be careful of the light here. Yeah. Don't worry.
Okay, sure.
Just make your way here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask Mr. Mike here that I've been listening to the interview, and Mr. Mike said he had money, but that money at that time he didn't have purpose. But money comes with a lot of things. Even if like you have 5 rand or 10 rand, there's always someone around you who can use that man. And I know I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that people around you needed that money at that time. So I want to understand, like, how do you maneuver around money? Like how do you behave around money? Did you know that later around these years you are going to need that money that you saved up, maybe like to for buy a ring, like you said? Obviously, like at that time you didn't know, like the man that you said that time it didn't have purpose. You didn't know, like later around these years you are going to buy a ring with that money that you said it didn't have purpose. So like I want to understand, like how's that behavior? Where do you get that behavior to like that you guys to behave around money like that? Because of like some people, if they get 1 million, they are going to blow it right now.
Yeah. I'll give you. I'll give you the mic to speak as well. I guess to summarize this question is the discipline that is talking about. How do you get a discipline to actually keep saving, keep stashing?
I think firstly, like if I say I had money, it's not millions that I had. If I can be honest with you, I think I had about 30,000 rand that was put away.
Let me make let me put, I don't know, but let me put a lot of something. Where we come from, 30,000 is a lot of money, and saving to that, it's like a better. So anything you say around putting out 13,000, it will really mean a lot to them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So again, like I did all that work. So the 30 grand was over a span of I think 3 years that it was like being put away, and I didn't like tell anyone. To be honest, like like even me in saying that, like I'm not trying to brag or anything. Like I'm just stating a fact. So I'd never went to anyone and be like, check this or have a look at this. And so yeah, when it comes to, like you said, the money had no purpose. I think that's the biggest thing of why I'm such a advocate for budgeting, is because if I did budgeting in that time period, that maybe that 30,000 could have been invested better instead of it laying in a bank account. And that's the biggest thing. Like I think with purpose there has to be like vision. So I wanted to actually speak about that, like when you ask me questions about like my wife. So can I put it in that perspective as well? So I have a vision for what I want to do with finances and like what I want to do with my life, and a vision that I have for my wife and our kids one day, and like my family as a whole. And that vision, every step that I take day in and day out, so every day of the month of the year, like whatever decisions I make and steps I take, does it take me one step closer to that vision that I have? And for instance, that's like as the husband and man of like our household, like I need to make sure that my wife is part of that vision and part of those, like every step that we take, because my wife and I's finances is one. It's not her money and my money, it's our money. That the steps that we take us closer to this vision that we have. And I think back then I didn't have a vision for the finances. So that's why it had no purpose. So there was no actions taken to say like this 30 grand can be used for X, Y, Z. So I think that's like to sum it up, like it does sound very strange that there was just this money that I was putting away into account, but like I can like say like I mean of that money that was there, like it was used for my wedding, our rings, our honeymoon, etc., etc. So later on, it did have a purpose, but in that moment, there was no vision for the money. There was no vision and purpose that like, what am I going to use this for? And with the discipline, like if I wasn't a outlandish spender and like this like luxurious spender, so for me, like there was discipline in I knew every month just put away something, but whatever there was no like thinking about like what the amount is. But I would just put money away and then go about my daily day. Yeah.
I appreciate that you asked that question, especially that way, because I think I understand where your question should be going or where your question come from. So the struggle I face myself, I find myself being good at making money and quite hard to keep it because I'm this person that I just but this is what this was before I even like this book. I would I don't like when someone just disappointed in me, you know. And even when there's something that is probably not important but doesn't have to buy, I would actually buy it because my ego was also attached to my spending. Do you understand what I mean? So I think I understand. It's hard to say as a result because every money that's in that bank account, there's always gonna be a reason that's gonna occur that that you might gonna spend that money on. So I really appreciate that. And I'm glad.
Yeah.
So what I cherish you for, Mike, is the the habit that you've created before the vision and purpose get there, like being able to put it away. Because I take it like steps, right? Or steps. When people start saving, that's where they die on I'll put it away, I'll put it away, I'll put it away, you know. So you being able to put it away, even if there's no vision and purpose, like for me, that's the issue. So I understand you. Yeah, it's really beneficial. Mhm. Mhm. Are we good now? We're good. Do you want to go with the question again? You said you have 3 questions. You're good. Okay. Um, let's go to some of the things that you spoke when we met, Mike. I love this. I love this seminar that you guys did. It was a lot of guys. It was only guys actually there.
Mm.
Yeah, I loved that setup and that community that you guys created there. Now let's talk about the scenarios that people might find themselves in, and what do you think? How can they actually get out of those situations? Right? With the in your space of work, what is it that you find to be problematic or concerning around financial planning mostly?
Mm.
Yeah. What is it that always come on top?
There's none.
Really?
Mhm.
What does that mean?
There's-
Does it mean people are not planning for their money? Does it mean what does it really mean?
So people live from hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck. So money in, money out, wait for the next month, money in, money out. There's no financial planning. It's kind of self-explanatory. It's just these things aren't taught to anyone or not to anyone, but it's not really taught to us. People are happy. Some people are happy where they don't want to track through a budget and they don't want to worry and see what they're spending money on because it's a reality check. Because as soon as I sit with someone and I, for instance, have a personal finance like session with them, and I say to them like, listen, we're going to do 1 month's budget. We're going to set out a budget, and then we're going to have a actual column as well. So what you actually spend compared to what you budgeted. And then there's certain things that are fixed. Like if you have a debit order that goes off, every month this is the amount. But then there's some fixed variable expenses that you have. Where like pocket money is the biggest one. And that's a lot of the times where people are like, they know they spend too much. So then I'm like, if you know you spend too much, why have you not gotten some accountability or taken responsibility for it? And when you put that on a budget template, for instance, and you send it to me and I say, okay, well, I can see that this is becoming a highlighted issue. And I want to keep you accountable and that you take responsibility for your spending. People don't like that because then they have to admit that they were doing something wrong. And when that comes in, then so it's a lot of the time like again, I don't like I'm never upset if people don't budget or anything like that. It's purely because it's not really taught to us in school. I definitely know personal finances is not a topic of conversation there, and seldom people get it in varsity.
Yeah.
So it's like, and the other thing is, I think there's really a lot of factors that come with it. People don't understand the real cost of living. So like I said, no, like you buy a car that if it's for image or whatever, or you just wanted the car, they don't realize it's not just the premium that you're paying. It's insurance that you're paying. It's maintenance. If you hit a pothole and you have to buy 2 new rims, how much is that going to cost you? It's petrol that you have to pay. You understand? There's a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration, and that's just one category, which is car financing. There's a lot of things that you have to bear in mind, and like I'll use a personal example. Like my wife and I, in our budget, we've got like a giving category. So where we like for people's birthday or if you want to bless someone, in there we put a certain amount for every month. So like we say like, okay, now it's December. Like just the other day, I also like, listen here, January, whose birthdays is it? Then we went through like our friends and our family and our list. And then it's like, okay, there's X amount of people. We want to give each of them X amount of money or buy them a gift worth of X amount. So in January's budget, this has to be put in. You understand? So that's like planning. And say we didn't do that. I know it's a very simple example, but say we didn't do that and the money we got in, all our debit orders went off, there's this amount laying, then you would just spend randomly. And then like come the 20th of the month, you think, bloody hell, am I going to buy groceries or how am I going to pay my electricity finished? How am I going to buy that? You understand? So there's just it gives me such a sense of peace knowing like where my money is going towards and what I'm planning and using my money for. So when I sit with people, that's the biggest thing is just there isn't a plan in place.
You did actually mention that on the seminar that every person must know each cent. Where is it going? How is it circulating? and all that. Do you believe in the power of assets? How do you, like, give me, okay, so I'll give you my financial trajectories, like which lane I'm actually moving on. So when I was, like you said, these things are not taught at school. So when I went out of my way to actually read and acquire more information, I then concluded that I'll actually follow this lane, which is make money, like have an earning stage. And I passed that where I can actually make money. And I realized I'm like, making it's now becoming something that's quite easy. But the hard part, which I struggle with, is multiplying it. And that's where I meet the concepts of assets and all that. And then I'm slowly like overcoming that battle with buying assets, since buying assets, it's actually harder than buying a liability, like emotional and psychological. Like if you, for instance, buy a beautiful car, your emotions are like, oh, Mike is gonna see you and all that. But if you have to buy this sparky that you're gonna be used to collect the waste in the community, you're like, oh God, that's a lot of work. You know what I mean? So now I'm actually getting myself used to do these hard things that are actually gonna multiply my money. And now, like the third one, the second one was to keep it. You keep it in order to get to the third one, which is multiplying. You understand what I mean? So you make it, you keep it, and then you buy assets, multiplication. So I'm there keeping it. Well, it was a battle as well. And now I got to the point where I want to multiply. And that's where I'm going. Like on your side, you speak about budgeting. How do you multiply your surplus?
I think if I will go into, I can use personal like example, but one thing that's vitally important is you must understand also that where you are in your life is different to where someone else is. That's quite crucial, because there's certain things that, and again, this is a personal opinion. There's certain things that I feel have to be in place before we can start looking at buying assets.
Okay, tell me about those things.
The emergency fund.
Yeah.
Or even the fact that, like, it again, like, what is your vision that you have for your life? Like, and the vision can, there's like, I want to say, ultimate like vision of when you say you reach whatever your idea of financial freedom is. But for now, for instance, like for my wife and I, it's having enough liquid cash that if something major goes wrong, we do not have to worry about it. So that's like the vision that we have now. So that's the thing that we are working towards. And then from there, like, my wife is super adamant on, she's like, listen here, when are we doing property? She's like, when is this gonna happen? Because she would love to start that. So then, like, that's like, okay, then I say, well, that is then the second, I want to say, step. Our first thing is first, that we can provide her and myself a good sense of security, that if something goes wrong, we know we've got liquid cash available. And that from there, we then say, okay, that is set in place. Now the next journey starts. And then we say, how are we going to do properties, for instance? It's just one of the things. How are we going to do property in the best manner possible? Set up companies, look at what structuring you need to do. How can you get tax benefits? You understand? Then that starts coming into play. So if I sit with someone, and there's usually a lot of other things that we need to first try figure out and handle and get, a hold and grip of before it's, let's start investing. Whether it's a good idea, or even whether they have the money for it or not. Because you spoke like about if you buy a new car, how you feel. So the psychology of money is a very, very real thing. So take an example. On payday, 99% of people are ecstatic. On the 19th to the 25th of a month, people are terrified, because it's like, my money is 10 to 1 finished.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's two major emotions that you feel in a month. Like, too much of something is not good. So how are we going to find the right thing during this time period? And like for me, it's like I want peace from the first till the end of the month, from the first till the end. I want peace regarding my finances.
Yeah.
So that is for me something that like I want to first get or help someone experience. Because when there's peace, then it's like, okay, well, you're starting to get a grip of your finances, you're starting to understand it. Then it's like, okay, we can see there is money being freed up. Then it's like, okay, let's see what we're going to do with this. Are we going to invest it? Because there's a bunch of other ways. Like I'm also not one for where just a retirement annuity, for instance, is your go-to for your older days. Like I'm keen for overseas investments. We had the Forex traders that they do. I'm not skilled in that. But
Myself too.
yeah. But there's like I said, offshore, there's property, there's businesses you can invest into, buying equity in the companies. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do. But for instance, people who don't have the ambition to do that, then I'm like, okay, well, there's a legal limit that you can max out your retirement annuity to get the biggest tax efficiency for yourself. Why don't we explore that? And then that gives them also a sense of like, freak, I'm actually doing something with my finances that is going to bring me a bigger return. You understand? So to get back to your question, like before assets and things like that are on the table, there's a bunch of things we first have to. A lot of people, like when it comes to like, well, how do they identify themselves within finances? Like it's another topic that you can, through conversation, start realizing how people are thinking about themselves and how that affects their spending habits. Like out of the top of my head example, some people feel they need to prove themselves to people. So their spending habits is like they spend astronomical amounts on luxurious goods. So it's like, okay, we have an identity crisis that's leading to a spending crisis.
I love that. Bro. Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's those things that we first need to have a look at. And then it's like, okay, cool. We're leading, we're growing, getting a firm grasp of what our identity is and how we've identified it's affecting our spending. Now let's move forward.
Yo, bro, I love that so much because I actually figured it later for myself that, oh yeah, some of the things I think money will solve, I actually have to solve them now before it even arrive. You said this, this is one of the things that you said on the seminar. Write 5 names that will be affected by your financial impact. I love this. Say more about this, please.
Yeah, so there's 2 ways in which I look at it. It's like 5 people that are basically on the other side of your obedience. So for me, my obedience that I have in my work and working well with like the money that I earn, who are the 5 people that will be affected in a positive manner. So like I have like by name, obviously my wife, her name's Sue-Ann, my parents, and then my wife's family. So I've got a few more names, but I usually say start with 5 because it's easier. And they are a part of the reason why I will make certain decisions, take certain steps. If I can't be at a gathering, for instance, because I have to work, because I know this is going to set me up for something later and later and later, that is why I have those 5 names. If you wake up in the morning and you're not in the mood to work or do anything, like those 5 names should be the ones that help you get that extra little push to go forward.
Kat, you still okay on your side? All right. You do mention that information won't change your life, decision and action will. When do you realize this?
I actually heard that, I can't remember who said it, about 2 months ago. So I actually heard that a few months ago, and it was something that like was half applied, that I was applying, but I never had a word for it, sentence for it. And then I heard that. And then I did some like retrospect on it and thinking about it. That's something that I think a lot of us struggle with in terms of we watch podcasts. Please also like, I'm not saying podcasts aren't bad. We read books, we listen to people, and then we think that's it, that's going to change my life. But it's like, okay, what you've heard on this podcast, for instance, if there's one thing out of this whole thing you can take to implement in your life that takes you one step closer to what you want to do, like what is that thing? Like what is that decision or that action that you can make? Because I've had it where I listen to someone speaking and I'm so inspired. Like you're motivated, you can run through a wall after this guy's spoken. The next day, I go back to normal. Nothing changed because there wasn't an action taken. There wasn't a decision that I made to change something. But I got exposure to all this knowledge. We have exposure to the most amazing minds out there in the world by the click of a button on your phone or tap on the screen. Phones don't have buttons anymore, but you understand what I mean? Like we've got this exposure to all this information, and then for 10 years we still stay in the same place because we think, I said it at that seminar as well, like Einstein's definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Like it doesn't work like that. Like we can't go through life thinking, if I'm doing the same thing now, next, if I'm doing, this is a cool thing that I thought about the other day, sorry. My like holiday that I'll have now in December, like I said I'm going to sit and I'm going to think, what are things that I did last year that I was not happy about that kept me away from reaching certain things in my life?
Yeah.
And I was like, write them down and figure out a plan to not do those things in 2026. And then end of 2026, reflect how it was different. So I would like encourage every single person who listens to this, try doing that. Because in doing that, like I will have to get information so that I can come up with the best action to take. Do you understand? So those two are running parallel with one another. I know, for instance, like I need to spend less time on social media. So it's like the action I can take is to either delete the app for a period, or when I work, I put my phone in a different room, find a way that I don't have distractions. So it's like, and that gets you thinking as well. Like that sparks some little bit of like innovative thinking on a very simple level. So like that's what I would definitely do.
Yeah.
And like I want to get that freaking saying tattooed on my body because it's so applicable to every area in your life, not just finances. Like if you want to say everyone's got the new year, new me thing, and they want to start exercising. Like you can go to every gym and get information from them. And if you don't make the decision to actually go to the gym, you're probably going to get bigger than what you were in the previous year. So it's like, very simple example, but it's still applicable. So yeah, I can talk a lot about this. You've heard that saying, like, trust the process.
Yeah.
I don't like that. So
why? It sounds amazing though.
It sounds amazing because people don't have a process to trust in.
Oh yeah. What are they trusting in?
Exactly. Because they just think it's going to magically happen. They just think like, I'm trusting in the process. What is the process? Like if I ask you, like, what's your process? Do you have one? No. So where's the trust then?
How do you know you have a process? Or well, I guess you will know when you don't, because probably someone would be like, how do I then differentiate it?
It's like, well, it's the same as saying like trusting in a plan, trusting in an action.
There must be something going
something.
on. I see.
You understand what I mean?
I see.
So it's like I can sit at home.
Yeah.
I can have all these ambitions in my mind. I've got dreams and visions that stretch me far beyond where I am now. And I can sit the whole day at home, do nothing, and I can say,
Yeah, no, I love that so much. Kat, what time are we running on? 1 hour. Amazing. I think we left with something like 5 minutes or so. Yeah, we cannot end this conversation without talking about God. All right. Yeah, without talking. I'm very curious because every time you're in seminar, you just go little. I wanna hear like the wonders he did in your life. I wanna hear like like the much that he did. But before I get that, I want to remind you, because during the conversation, you said I should remind you about coming fresh out of varsity. Some of the things. Yeah, let's talk about that.
I'll talk with you about that. I think it's something that I struggled with, and I think maybe a lot of viewers would struggle with this. Actually, I had a meeting with someone also who kind of reiterated what I'm going to say now.
Mm-hmm.
When you're fresh out of varsity, you need to know you're going to work your backside off, and that it's not going to just be handed to you. I had the thought that I had a degree, I had honors, going into work, they're going to pay me big time. I'm going to be a manager. But it doesn't work like that. Like, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. And I think this is my thought on this. The reason why we look at this is because we see on social media all these people from all over the world who are 22, who've made it, got the Lambo, got the cars and stuff. And it's,
I know he's inspired by those people. That's
be inspired by. I'm not saying to not be inspired. Like, if that is your dream and you can make it a reality, I back you 100%.
Yeah.
But just know that that reality isn't everyone's reality. Like in my instance, it wasn't. And I wanted it, bruh. Kat, you think you're a car enthusiast? My wife at a stage thought I was just gonna rock up with a GTI at our house one day. It was like, I love cars. I absolutely love cars. And I was like, no, when I'm done, big salary. It's like, no, you prove yourself. You're gonna prove yourself, you're gonna work hard, you're gonna grow, you're going to learn discipline, learn principles, learn obedience, learn work environment settings, how to work in them, and then you're going to grow. And like, that's something like, and it's not like a doom and gloom statement that I'm making now. It was just something that I struggled with. And I think there's other people who would struggle with it as well. That you don't look at it in a negative aspect, like, I'm not going to go further than this probably. Like, when you develop yourself, a good businessman can identify someone who's building character and building identity and developing themselves. And that time will come.
That's so true, Mike.
People work 10 years, 20 years to become an overnight success. It's not you just become an overnight success. You want to talk about God?
Wait, you want to go there? You want to go there? I want to attest to what you're saying. Yeah. When I had a dream about my ultimate business, like the vision, so people that are close to me, yeah. When I researched about it, the research says people that have built this business type of business, it took them 35 years. And that moment, I was like, not even on year one. You understand? So I'm looking at this 35 years. However, I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway. However, with me, because you want to talk about God? Because I know with grace you get things that you don't deserve, and with mercy things are lenient on you. So I had just that faith. So I want to attest to that, which you are saying that there's actually time that you should work, but someone one day will actually point you out that actually this guy has got this. Yeah.
And like, if you, I for instance, like, I have a boss, but he doesn't like micromanage me. So like, a lot of my work that I do, I have to set up everything. So like, and whatever salary I earn, it's based on how hard I work.
Mm.
And if that's your way to go, if like also when you go into entrepreneurship and when you want to be a business owner, like it's not sunshine and rainbows the whole time.
Mm.
And it's like these guys who have made it. Look at like the Jeff Bezos and people and Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos has that photo. I think it is Jeff Bezos of him in like a garage. I think it is, and it's like now he's a multi-hundred-billionaire dollar value.
Mm.
It's like it's because the guy. You can't tell me he's going to tell you every single day it was great. No,
Mm.
the oak still goes through competitors that is now um like in his industry. He still has to come up with innovation, smart ideas. You understand? Like
Mm.
it's a continuous journey and a continuous learning process. There's always highs, there's always lows, like no matter what. But like if I bring that back to like my statement when you finish with varsity, like it's gonna take some time and you will reap the fruit at the end of the day if you put in the work.
You have no idea how many times I've been taking size here, and my size at this moment, like it's a sign that, bro, I feel you. You know, I really hear you what you're saying, and I also appreciate you saying that, because so majority of my clients in my barbershop are students, and I understand why they feel in that way. We we've been sold this dream that once you get this qualification, look, bro, all the doors are opening for you. And you saying that sort of prepare them to be ready, not to hit that disappointment with no, conscious thoughts on it. So, because, okay, surely, Kat, you even know this. Education is the key to success. So you are under the impression that once you have that degree or qualification, now this is the key that you have, and you get into the reality world where you find out like we're not even competing on degrees anymore. You should go on postgrad, you should go on that. It's more than the degree or the qualification, like you said. And which I look back into this, you earning based on your hard work. This for me, it reflects back when you were working on pools, working on bartenders. You've trained yourself to do this, so now it becomes a reality that you living in. Yeah, I find that amazing, and I think it will go a long way for people that are actually graduating or have graduated. That is still gonna take some time.
Yeah, and you said education is the key to success. Education doesn't stop when you finish studying. I know of a guy who he didn't go to varsity. He owns Budget Shop. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Budget Shop. But it's like in Bloemfontein. He's probably one of the most savvy businessmen I've ever met. He didn't go to varsity. He educated himself. So like varsity in school is great, but like your education also comes from you as well.
So after graduating, you should continue learning, educating yourself.
Continuous development. Vitally important.
Let's talk about God. Yeah, let's talk about God. I grew up in church as well, but I believe God has always he always had a relationship with me, but it was not activated on my side, although I was growing up in church. So it gets activated when I get to high school, and that's where I saw the wonders of his miracles, like a lot of things that he did for me. Like my life changed without even a quest for that. On your side, tell me, when you doing matric and now you get that switch, I don't know, I wish I get this right, in October.
Yeah.
Right, when you get that switch, you did mention a date. Is it the 18th?
18th of October.
Oh my man, yeah. When you get that switch, what happens? Like from there, how does your life start to change? What are some of the things that you appreciated about the change that had suddenly come?
So when the change came, it was also something that I realized. So any relationship is a continuous one that you have to invest time into. So like God is always there. Like He's like, He will never force a relationship onto you, but He will be like, I am here, and like, seek me. Like that, not me saying God seek me. God says to me, Michael, seek me. So after that, it was, the first thing was just like the environments that I would spend time in, like going out and things. And then it was spending time in the Word, like reading the Bible, spending time with God, like hearing what God's thoughts on His plan and purposes for my life. Because that's extremely important to me, is that I don't want to do something that God's hand's not upon. And that He says, like, Michael, this is what I have in store for you, but you're doing this. It's like, I want to follow the purpose and the will of God that He has for my life. And hearing God's heart, and that's where, like I said, like, God's heart is for people. And like when I realized that, it's like, okay, well, what can I then do? Like I said, no, for people. Like, and I know I'll be able to financially bless people one day astronomically and give to nonprofit organizations and etc. etc. So yeah, so that switch came with a lot of different. It's an ongoing journey. So it came with a lot of like different seasons in my life where I found myself and certain things that I had to stop doing and certain things that I had to start doing, like spending more time in the Word and surrounding myself with like Christian men of valor and honor, um, to see what it is to be a godly man. So yeah, so it came with a lot of things, and I also realized can I take my phone out?
Yeah,
to read
sure.
something? So like it's the same as I remember you spoke now about like the plans that God has for you. So everyone knows the scripture Jeremiah 29:11. That for I know the thoughts I have for you, thoughts of peace, not of evil. But I want to read. Yeah, it's like Jeremiah 29:11 says, here's what Yahweh says to you. I know all about the marvelous destiny I have in store for you, a future planned out in detail. My intention is not to harm you, but to surround you with peace and prosperity and to give you a beautiful future, glistening with hope. When you call on me and come to me in prayer, I will listen to your every word. So something that was made very evident to me is that God knows what plans and He knows what what the future lies ahead for me. But it says that's what God knows. But then in verse 12, it's like, what's your responsibility? It's like, call on me, hear from me.
Oh, yeah.
You understand? That's vitally important. That was like one of the biggest things in that time period where the shift was like, hear from God what you want to do, what He wants to do with your life. So that's for me, like, that's one of my favorite verses in the Bible, because I know, like, seeking God, hearing from Him day in and day out, what He says over my life is straight from Him, and all I need to do, I just need to seek Him. And it's like such a beautiful relationship that you can have with God, such an individual relationship that you have, because my relationship with God is not the same as yours, nor as Kat's. And that's so special, that uniqueness that's behind it. So yeah, so like, and biblical principles, biblical finances, yes, it does the world. Like, it will change your entire life 180 degrees.
What I do have these moments, yeah, and yeah, I think if I tap to them, I would get emotional every time. When you switched, right? When you make that switch, you're now indulging yourself in this gospel, in this relationship. Which moment do you remember where He came through for you? And like, maybe this was the moment you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. I guess like many people have this moment. The other time I was on a ride with this lady. She stays here in Bloemfontein. Her child is 2 years. This child has been breathing through the pipes on the machines. She's born with this extraordinary illness. I forgot what she said. It's a condition actually that has never been seen. So she's saying the doctors told her that after 4 years, that in 4 years' time, the child will be no more. So she's still within that 4 years, count. And she's like, every moment I want to spend time with him. People said I should switch off the machine, but I want to exhaust this 4 years so that I have most. And she's like, I'm at the most vulnerable position. I don't know what keeps me going. But my husband, and she also mentioned like a lot of things, but I'm taking that moment. I'm like, surely this is the moment where she's most prayerful than ever before. You have this child, you have a relationship with this child, but this child seems not to be responsive, So I guess many people, they do have these stories. I have my own as well. Which moment where you're like, yeah, he came for me here?
No, I think obviously on that night that I felt like the presence of God and like the touch of God on my heart. Definitely, like if I reflect back, like my studying, like deciding what to study, that lady who told me, she told me, I think you would do well in BCom business management with specialization in entrepreneurial management. Like I didn't know there was that subject, that degree to study. Like I was like, I did aptitude tests where they see what you are more prone towards. So like my aptitude test said a lawyer or a pastor or a businessman. So I was like, well, number one is a lawyer. So I'm like, I'm going to do BCom law. And then like just going through the motions, not thinking of AP points, going to the varsity, sitting in the line for registration, only to be told like, you can't.
Yeah.
And then this random lady who I think I saw twice after that again, never again, who says like, do BCom. And I was like, I believe that's God intervention. It's like, that's the hand of God. Like that was part of my destiny and journey that I'm still in now. Like if I went to BCom law, this is a